20th, 2025, 7 p.m. Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll.
Trustee Prigi?
Here.
Trustee Alba?
Here.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Here.
Trustee Porter?
Here.
Trustee Kunkel?
Here.
And Trustee Bancole? Here. We are all here.
We're all here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. We have a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Any changes?
I've heard none.
Any changes?
Yes. Could I remove 785 from the consent agenda?
Seven A5 from consent agenda.
So a motion to accept the agenda with the exception of 785.
Can I take the roll?
Trustee, call the roll.
Trustee Alba?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
And Trustee Prigi?
Yes.
Thank you.
Point of order. I'd like to ask my fellow trustees, as this is our colleague's last meeting, if we'll allow him the privilege of making the motions on items that come up on the agenda today to motion.
It's not his last
You have
meeting.
2 more meetings.
2 more meetings? This isn't the last one? Never mind.
In 2 meetings, yes.
You know, screw-ups are supposed to happen at the chair,
Why did I think?
not on the wing.
You're a month ahead just like me. It's okay. It's okay. Totally fine.
So snow,
Mayor Craig, we do have a presentation tonight.
The last meeting for Trustee Priggy will be the
April
17th of April.
Yeah, 2 more. We do have a presentation tonight,
We do.
so can you sit tight for me? I'd like to call up my friends Michael and Teresa Waits, please.
Oh, this must be good.
Come on up, friends. It's all yours.
My name is Michael Waits, and this is my wife Teresa Waits. I am the current president of the Hanover Park Lions Club, and she is the vice president. And we're here today to surprise Mayor Craig. Would you please join us?
Sorry.
Michael, always, Teresa, always, what a pleasure.
As a distinguished member of the Hanover Park Lions Club, we were bestowed the honor of handing you a service award for 15 years of service with the Hanover Park Lions Club
Oh, my goodness.
from Lions International.
Lions International.
Lions International.
Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you, Michael.
You want to read that?
Oh, I can. Dear Lion Rodney Craig, congratulations on completing 15 years as a Lion. To commemorate and recognize your years of service, I am presenting you with the enclosed Milestone Chevron Award. I better get my thing out, yeah? Yeah, get that first. Yes. It got a little nasty, you know, so I'm keeping it white. The Chevron Award is aptly named after the chevron symbol in reference to a badge or insignia indicating rank or length of service. Your commitment to service as a member of our association is both honorable and commendable, as you have touched the lives of so many people. From the smallest project to the largest undertaking, your many years of service have made an incredible difference in our community. Lions International recognizes the anniversaries of members like you because they are a reminder of important milestones in our lives. Every time you serve, you make your mark on the lives you touch, the community you serve, and the world we share. Your dedication has given us the opportunity to celebrate, commemorate, and carry our long legacy of kindness forward into the future. Congratulations once again on your milestone. I wish you many more healthy and happy years to continue your personal commitment to service. Signed, Faberico Oliveira,
Yes.
International President.
Yeah.
Well, very
That's your
good.
little award, your Chevron Awards right there.
Yes, that is nice. I recognize. So if we'll get a photo together. Whoop, whoop, whoop. These two fine individuals have been in our town for a long time and have served Hanover Park nicely for many, many years.
Yes.
If you would, please, say hi to our board.
You gotta walk.
No, you're the one.
You have to do it.
You get it right. Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
You're coming.
They are, yes. I'm all ready to go. Perhaps not make it.
Staying in there with me? Okay.
You know it, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Very good.
Thank you.
We have fun sometimes, right?
Yes. Surprise.
See?
I don't know how to do that every time.
So I didn't tell you until right when you sat down.
Michael, Teresa, thank you very much. It's quite an honor. Town hall session?
Nobody has signed in for town hall.
All right.
All you, sir.
Village President's report. I could talk for an hour. There's so much going on in the world, but I won't do that. I'd like to move to on this vote items on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion.
There
Hearing
is no
none.
discussion, and there, it's items 7A1 through 7A4 and 7A6 through 7A13.
13,
13.
correct.
Thank you.
All right, trustee Gutierrez,
Yes.
trustee Porter,
Yes.
trustee Kunkel,
Yes.
trustee Bancole,
Yes.
trustee Prigi,
Yes.
and trustee Alba.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. 785, move to pass an ordinance fixing the salary, deferred compensation, and automobile allowance of the village manager.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Yes, I have a few remarks. I believe it is important to support all village employees and to advocate for an equitable and living wage, which is why I've always consistently voted in the affirmative for collective bargaining agreements, salary adjustments, and have always advocated to strengthen our paid leave and benefits policy. It is also why in the 4 years that I've been a trustee, I've never once voted in opposition of this specific ordinance. But regrettably, I'm unable to support this measure. I believe in fair compensation, but I believe that the proposal before us is disproportionate as it lacked research-based, data-driven information for the board.
Okay.
And additionally, for several years now, I've asked for there to be a comprehensive board discussion. And for several years now, my request has not come to fruition. So I truly hope that moving forward, we can move forward in a way where we have a methodical, research-based, move forward in a methodical, research-based, data-driven manner in the hopes that we can better serve our residents in the most fiscally responsible way possible. Thank you.
The new board, when it comes in place, will have our strategic planning, which we haven't had for a little bit while. I think we're at the 5-year point, but we're usually do it at 4. So we'll take that on at that point in time so that we do have a consensus of our board when moving forward on this matter.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
No.
Trustee Perigi?
Yes.
Trustee Albuck?
Yes.
And Trustee Gutierrez?
I have to abstain. I wasn't here during the discussion for this.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Moving on. 7814. Move to approve warrant 3/20/2025 in the amount of $724,539.90.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Perigi?
Yes.
Trustee Albuck?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
And Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Thank you.
7815, move to approve warrant paid in advance 2/27/2025 through 3/13/2025 in the amount of $724,835.52.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Perigi?
Yes.
Trustee Albuck?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
And Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Village Manager's report, Juliana.
The only item is the monthly treasurer's report for February.
Any questions for Juliana? Linda is here. We could ask her some questions. What do you think, Linda? We're good? Okay. It's nice to have you fill in for Remy. You bring a pleasant smile to the staff. It's nice to have somebody smiling in the staff.
They're all happy over there.
I got John laughing back there. Okay, very good. Corporation Council report, Bernie?
No report, thank you.
You skipped me.
I skipped you.
Okay.
With apologies, village clerk's report?
Just the doggy extravaganza is coming up on April 5th from 2 to 3. So if you have a furry friend, bring them on over to hunt for some eggs.
Very good, very good. Village trustees reports, and for the record, Jenny is with us, trustee-elect, and we look forward to you and your smiley face in the future. Trustee Priggy,
No report.
trustee Albeck.
Thank you, Mayor. One serious note is that with the changes to the Department of Veterans Affairs, I would like to mention that the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs currently has no changes to their structure or funding schedule. There are Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs offices available nearby in both Schaumburg and Palatine. If you have any questions, please contact me or them concerning anything to do with veterans issues. The only other thing I'd like to mention is that Restaurant Week was a hit. And I took the opportunity, along with my spouse, to go to a different restaurant in Hanover Park every single night of Restaurant Week. And I'd like to mention a couple of highlights based on the experience of going to all the different restaurants. Zen Noodle, I highly recommend the spicy pork miso. And my wife would like to say that the hibachi chicken and shrimp are outstanding. El Chapala on Taco Tuesday, I'd like to recommend the Asada Taco Dinner. My wife, again, grilled chicken. Sweet Basil Cafe, I enjoyed a horseshoe, which is one of the few places in the north part of the state where you can get a good horseshoe. Their shoes are fantastic. And we both heartily recommend the banana bread Foster dessert. It's worth going just to have that alone. And also notably, It's a scenic locale because it's right across Barrington Road from Ranger Park.
Nothing to do with your history.
Top of my list so far, however, is Priscilla's. If you're interested in soul food and having worked a lot of years in the South at, military bases in Georgia and North Carolina and so on, I really developed a hearty taste for soul food. Priscilla's fried chicken, pot roast, highlight on the mac and cheese. It's out of this world, worth the trip all by itself. And their recommendation, I hardly also echo, is to have the peach cobbler warm.
Oh, it's good.
That was a win. That was the recommendation from their super friendly staff. And then the last place that we attended is Orale. Fantastic all the way around. There's a lot of southwestern options in the Hanover Park area. Orale stands among the top choices in that genre. Their chips are fantastic. My wife especially enjoyed their margaritas. The fajitas, carne asada, chicken quesadilla, all fantastic. So there's a small rundown of some of the highlights from Restaurant Week. There's some other options. We're gonna do our best to try and get to all of them. We even canceled the food home kits that we normally get to make dinner together for that week so we could focus on this, and it was really worth the time and effort. So Restaurant Week's ahead. I'm looking forward to that for next year again already. Thank you. That concludes my report.
You would think we did that just for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fantastic. More like that. More programs like that.
Thank you. Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes. Just a reminder that Hanover Township is having their job fair with the first hour dedicated to veterans
Yes.
on March 24th. Schaumburg Township is having their Veterans Coffee also coming up. Mayor, I wanted to ask you, have you heard anything about the township's bill that
Yes.
is,
I don't think
Wasn't
it's
moving
getting any
It's
like.
not moving forward.
I'm sorry?
From what I understand, it's not moving forward this session.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure that what the information I got, because our townships are important to us. And they support us in so many ways. And so, and I know this is not the first time they've tried to consolidate townships, but I just wanted to know if you knew anything else. That's it for me.
The job fair was March 24th?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
That's a Wednesday, right?
I don't know.
The 24th?
On Monday.
It's a Monday? At the township?
Monday at Hanover Township.
Okay. Yeah, an old note. Trustee
Yeah.
Porter?
I want to echo Trustee Troy's comment on Restaurant Week. I visited many of those restaurants he mentioned, but my favorite was Orly's and Ceviche. Was since I've been to Panama, it's like the best ceviche that I've had anywhere. And the chips, I wanted to take a whole bag full of those chips home. The best chips in town. So I think it was a great idea, a great event, Restaurant Week. And I didn't get to Sayedi's yet. That's still on my list to do, but I've heard nothing but good things about them.
Sayed's Kitchen? Is it open now?
I think so. I think so. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, it is open? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're a meat lover's dream, I've heard, man, so we'll have to make a trip down there. The only other thing I have is that I attended the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee meeting for the Northwest Mayor's Conference, and the issue that came up again that we're talking about and giving some direction is e-bike and regulations for e-bikes. It's an issue that's gaining a lot of attention with the proliferation of e-bikes that are traveling 20 miles or more up and down our streets. And as it stands right now, they're not really adhering to any type of traffic rules and laws. And many communities are struggling with how do you enforce it, where do you limit the access, is it just to bike paths, if we allow them access on the roads, how do they share the roads with vehicles, do they have the same rules of approach as a normal bicycle? Are they more motorcycles now because they're so high-powered than they are just e-bikes? So there's a lot going on, and many communities are looking for some answers to regulation and safety, safe system approach. They're recommending villages do more on education, on the education level, to people who buy them, to sellers and vendors, stores that sell the product, to also offering education, but also some registration is being considered to do that. Should they be licensed with the state as motorcycles are now doing? Are you going to limit their use? And they're looking at coordinating and getting some input from the police department as to, if we do enforcement, what does that even look like? When you've got so many of these e-bikes whizzing around, what does enforcement look like? What kind of stress would that place on our police departments to try to enforce whatever kind of regulations that we may come up with? So, but it is a growing problem. It's being discussed in Springfield. There's some bills currently in the legislative body where they're looking at doing some things concerning e-bikes, but right now they're looking for guidance from the municipalities as before the legislature makes any rulings or puts forth any kind of bills on that. They're looking for our input. So I just want to put it out to the board and also you, Chief Johnson, to let you know that this is coming down the road, and I'd rather we be in front of it than following it. As it's going to relate to Hannibal Park.
If I may, I have the same passion. And I'd like to consult with the chief, you and I, and see what pathway we can take, maybe have an invite. I know there's a number of families that have them, would like to maybe sit down with us and have a conversation. What do you think, Chief?
This issue is something that's on my radar for sure. There's a gray area as to the definition of, how are they defined as motor vehicles? Right now, as it stands, 99% of them would require to be titled and registered as motor vehicles, which they don't qualify for. So when they veer into state or, actual roadways, state, county, local roadways, the IVC kind of governs that. But communities are having different challenges and problems with them, where they've needed to go a little bit beyond that and create some regulations, or you mentioned registration, local, like municipal titling of them. They're all different, means that are out there that are being used right now. So I have a few ordinances. And it's something that I'm watching. All eyes are sort of on Springfield to see if the state goes much further, but communities are starting to take some action beyond just saying, well, when they veer onto the roadway, then we'll deal with them. So it's definitely an issue that's increasing.
There were even questions about liability. What should happen if they're involved in an accident. And unfortunately, in Hannibal Park, we have a history of motorcycle accidents on our roadway and the damage that did to the village, as we were held somewhat liable for that motorcycle accident some years ago, puts the village into a financial hole when that happened. So you got these e-bikes that are whizzing on the street at night. They don't have to have lights on them, so it's dark. They're on the roads. They're whizzing by. So it's an issue that we got to deal with, and I welcome the opportunity to sit down with you and the mayor. And then take some of that feedback back to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee for the Northwest Mayor's Conference, as all of the other communities are having these same discussions and just trying to figure out how we move forward to protect everyone involved.
Yeah, I think we can have that conversation, and with the chief's influence in the world he lives in, I'm sure we'd come up with an outstanding outcome. Very good. Anything else?
There's also some grant opportunities, I don't know if we're aware of it, in CMAP, with some opportunities for funding for bikeways, bike paths, and roads that came up during our discussion. And many of our neighboring communities and partner communities in the Northwest Mayor's Conference are looking at ways of taking advantage of CMAP. And I just am hopeful that we're looking into that. If anybody would like to delve into that further, I'm more than willing to talk with any of the administrators, department heads, about what's available and how we might, look at those opportunities.
Very good. I get data all the time, and I forward that to staff.
Okay. And that concludes my report.
Very good. Thank you, Herb. Trustee Kunkel?
Yes, I'd like to first thank Public Works for the quick response to the tornado event we had on the 15th. They did a really good job of cleaning up all the tree branches in front of, in the streets and in front of people's houses on the walkway. Also, next month, Skunk Month. Oh, man, everybody loves that. They're gonna be in, they're in fashion, okay? March. They're coming out of their holes.
Skunks.
Skunk Month, yep. And everybody here, looks like we all survived the bipolar weather that we've had, the hot and the cold. But spring is here, birds are showing up. The trees are budding, the orange barrels are expanding exponentially on the roads. So watch out for the orange barrels. Remember Scott's Law also. Let's see, I went to the SOC meeting, SOC meeting, and we had no dues again this month, or this year. However, they did send a letter, Mayor Johnson sent a letter to both CDA and FAA concerning NEPA law for the consideration for the rotation of the airport runway rotation. So there's a letter out to both of those that just came out last, I think in the last week. And even though it's been 5 years since COVID, we're still getting 3,000 deaths a year in the United States from COVID. I know it's not in the news, it's not a big thing, it's all this other stuff that's going on. That doesn't make front headlines or anything, but still 3,000 people a year are dying from this. That's all I have. That's my report.
Thank you, trustee. And since you mentioned the storm, just a quick question. I noticed we have fences down on Barrington and Irving Park Road. Are we deferring that back to the contractor that put them in? Or are we doing it ourselves?
Sir, if the fence had a pole that was damaged as part of the storm, we're going to have a contractor come in and replace those completely rather than just try to effect a repair. However, if it was just a panel that was down, generally speaking, we repaired those. So if there are still some down, and there are, we're having the contractor come in.
Looks like a truck drove through them, but it's, you can tell what it was.
No, okay.
Okay. Trustee Ben Coley,
Thank you, Mayor.
you're welcome.
Last week, so thank you again to the board for allowing me to attend the Fred Gray National Symposium. I attended, it was held in Montgomery, Alabama, and I attended last weekend and did want to share several of the things that were discussed. There were a lot of really thought-provoking discussions that took place, and we spent a lot of time talking about the communities that we serve, all the actions that have come out of the current White House administration and how it impacts our communities and how we can just better serve our residents. So I just wanted to touch on a couple of things that were touched, and some of the things that other communities shared that they were doing. So the impact on federal workers. So we've seen that a lot of federal workers have lost their jobs recently, And I was speaking to someone who's a representative in Virginia, and they said that Virginia has taken it upon themselves to start setting up career fairs, unemployment, transition services, all on a dedicated website. Like, they just stood up a website. And not to say that that's something the state of Illinois is going to do, but I thought it was great because all these services and resources are kind of put in one place. I spoke to another person in Tennessee, actually, that they were at a county level. They've started to put together seminars as it relates to how their retirement is being impacted. So I thought that that was pretty interesting. But a really big topic that we talked about was Social Security. And so when we think about Social Security for our residents, the closest offices to us, I believe, are Bloomingdale, Elgin, and Mount Prospect. So, luckily, we have, several different options. I know that there has been proposed changes that to receive or to sign up for Social Security benefits that you would have to go in person versus just going online to sign up for things, which made me think about our townships and how they actively promote the Pace Dial a Ride. But I think I'm more familiar with some township services versus than others, so maybe we could take it upon ourselves to maybe learn a little bit more about the transportation services that they provide. But and then another thing that was mentioned is, are there opportunities for state and local governments to absorb the really great talent that's being let go? Are there opportunities? So just things to consider.
If I can interject, if you don't mind?
Yes, of course, Mayor.
So, Representative, Congressional Representative Delia Ramirez shared with the mayors on Monday that a third of those being separated in the federal government are veterans.
30%.
30%. And, Hanover Park has a history of hiring veterans.
Right.
Recognized by the Department of Labor. We all know that. When is it? On the 24th? Is it a Monday? Hanover Park is going to be at Hanover Township. The first hour is for veterans, so if they come waltz it in, we'll be there, and I don't know.
We'll be there?
Hanover Park will be there.
Will we be presented?
Huh?
Oh, the township.
Yeah, we'll be at the
Okay,
township
okay.
saying,
Okay,
hello, for the first hour.
okay.
Uh,
Oh, okay, thank you. No, thank you for highlighting.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, our HR department's on top of this and looking forward, so that's all good.
Yeah, thank you. Another thing that was discussed was just communication, so, and I'm just gonna read this. Sometimes for accurate information to be, so we talked about communication, but also because there's so many different ways to consume news and media, sometimes mixed in is inaccurate information. And so I'm just gonna read this. So for accurate information to be distributed local communities may need to consider reigniting communications and decentralizing national communications. And I thought about how dependent we are on Daily Herald, which is something that's more local. It's so many of our residents are dependent on Daily Herald, and I just bring that up because there was a speaker from Tennessee, and they talked about their local newspaper and how they were going to lose their local newspaper, and so there were like 5 or 6 municipalities that kind of banded together to. It sounded like they, in some ways, financially supported, or they formed some sort of like conglomerate to kind of save their newspaper. But I was just thinking about the importance of the Daily Herald and just kind of sustaining their existence. We talked about trust. Trust between you and the community you serve is important. And sometimes when I think about trust, I think about all that's going on with our current immigration system, and, you know, there's a lot of fear and a lot of really scary things going on. But I think maybe just reminding our residents that we have a welcoming ordinance on the books. You know, some people don't even know it exists, so maybe just reminding them that that's something that exists, and it kind of reinforces some of our values. I was gonna talk about education, but I think we spend a lot of time talking about education, but considering the current actions that took place earlier today, I think we'd be here all night, so I'm not gonna touch on education. But I'm gonna close by saying this. One of the speakers said, you can bloom where you are planted, your community needs you. And so I just thought about how literally every single person in this room, the residents that are here, our staff, our board members, we have all decided to be rooted in this community. Whether you work here, you know, you don't have to live here, but whether you work here, whether you serve our community, whether you serve our residents. And I just had so much gratitude in my heart thinking about how so many of us have chosen to be rooted here in Hanover Park. So thank you, and that's it.
Well, thank you. And there is no executive session this evening. I would like to thank Teresa and Mike for coming by, scaring the hell out of me. It's a nice evening, Jenny. Glad you're here. You've got a lot of meetings to go, catch up with Tom. Oh, just teasing. We have a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Bye.
Thank you very much.